Okay, so I wanted to do just a quick little video of our first week. Kind of just jumped fairly quickly from puppy camp to here, so most of it was just recapping and fine-tuning things. But the really big focus this week was making sure he had a solid understanding of our various marker words. So what a marker is, it's a cue or a sound that marks a moment in time that he does something that we like, and then followed by a reinforcement. So in order for him to understand what a marker is, we have to first load it, so we have to put value on it. The words and sounds, they mean nothing until you pair them with food or whatever his reinforcement is for him. That's food, of course. So because there's usually a little bit of a lull in giving him a reward, sometimes that can be rewarding the wrong thing. So if I lure him into a sit and he sits, and then I go to give him a food and he jumps about the sit and I reward that, then you get a little bit of disassociation. So he has several different markers. A really big one that I'm using right now is the clicker. And I use that to shape behaviors, to build enthusiasm in behaviors. I like the clicker because it is always a consistent sound, whereas my voice can kind of vary a little bit. Usually I phase out the clicker once he has a good understanding of what the behaviors are, and I switch to just our verbal markers, and I feel like it's usually easier for transitioning that to you guys. It's just our verbal markers. So when I lure him into a behavior, so a lure is just a treat-filled hand, I want his face to follow my hand, so I just kind of move that around, having him follow my hand, and then I will guide my hand to help lure him into position. Before I get to the markers, for him, because he is chomping McChomperson, I've really stuck to establishing that a closed fist means that he cannot have anything. So that's been pretty helpful because he likes to he has no control over his mouth. It's not a big deal, it's pretty normal, especially for young puppies like this, and he's got, those really sharp teeth. Closed fist means nothing, he can't have anything, and he's not allowed to take anything from me until I open my fist and let him, offer him the food. So it also helps later with building neutrality in my movements, because I want him responding to just the markers. I don't want him responding to my moving, because as we start working on duration, I want him to remain in behavior until he's given a release word. So I don't want him responding to me moving, because I want to be able to put him into a behavior and then move around and not have him respond to that. So when my fist is closed, I know that when I go to offer him food, he's not going to come out of behavior to meet me halfway, because the fist is closed, he can't have anything. So I've been very conscious in not opening my hand until I have my hand right by his face. Or if he's coming out of behavior, I make sure I give that cue and then present the food with my hand open. I hope that makes sense. So with the clicker, hi. I don't know if you can, yeah, you're in the shot. So when he does a behavior that I want, I click and reward that. With the clicker, he can come to me to get the reinforcement. Oh, you know what that means, good boy. So again, I use it to kind of shape behavior. So if I'm luring, I have this placed out right here, for example. If I'm luring him on, I click the moment that I like what he's showing me. He is done with the behavior at that click. He doesn't have to remain in any type of behavior. So the other two that I use are going to be good and okay. Right now, they mean pretty much the same thing to him. Now that we're progressing, I'm starting to create a difference in them. So good is going to be more of a duration marker. It's something that as soon as he goes to behavior, I'll say the word good. I bring him the treat when using the word good. I'm coming to him because I want him to remain in behavior when he hears the word good. So I'm making it a point to, when I say good, I bring him something good. And then okay is going to be our other marker. That is going to be a terminal marker. So that means he can come out of behavior when he hears the word okay. So as I'm building duration, good food, good food to build duration. Excuse me. And then when I'm ready for him to come out of behavior, I say the word okay. and then present the food. Oops, that means he can come to me. I do make it a point to say the word okay before adding movement, before presenting the food, because again, I want him responding to that cue and not my movement. I gotta open this back up. So, demonstrations. We're just starting to really put actual commands on the behaviors. I did a little bit in his puppy camp, but it wasn't a solid foundation. I just kind of play around with him, hearing the words. Now I'm starting to, say the word sit, good, close my fist, good. So I can move my hand away, and he's still a little wonky with it, but that's because he's a fat boy at heart. No, good. Good, very nice. And then I'm going to say the word okay, and then add in that movement. So what I want to avoid is sit. I don't want it to be okay, because then he's responding to my movement. I want it to be him responding to that okay. So that way he stays in behavior until I give him that word. Hey, baby. Something else I've been doing with him, I'm introducing it a little bit earlier than normal, just because I think that he is kind of got the squirrels in the brain. He gets fairly easily distracted, and he has a lot of competing motivators. I've been adding in leash pressure to help counter him breaking behavior and things like that. So a really big one is teaching him the response to leash pressure when walking, because he is a dragger. He likes to go from point A to point B, regardless of if I want to go there also. So what happens is when he puts tension into the leash, and I use the clicker a lot for this one, when he puts tension into the leash, as soon as he gives to that pressure and kind of creates slack, I click and mark that. I want to build value in him, creating slack in the leash. Most dogs naturally push into leash pressure. They learn at a very young age that if they just deal with a little bit of tension, they get from point A to point B fairly quickly. So I guess the key with leash pressure is, or really any type of pressure, spatial pressure, leash pressure, things like that, you want to keep that pressure until you have the desired behavior, and you will release whatever pressure you're using when you have that behavior, not before. That way you're reinforcing a wanted behavior. So when he starts pulling forward, I stop going forward, and I wait for him to create slack and check in with me, and I click and reward that. It's definitely a work in progress. Usually back and forth, back and forth, back and forth before he kind of settles in each session. And over time, muscle memory, he'll figure out that pulling ahead of me doesn't get him anywhere. We don't move forward when he does that. Eventually he'll realize that it's more work to just be by my side. And then we're actually working on a specific location for his heel in here where there's low distractions, and it's really hard for him. He just likes to get his treat and then move on for me. So I'm really working on leash pressure to help keep him by my side, because literally he'll be by my side and I'll give him a treat, and then he's like, okay, bye, and wants to go over there. So I'm trying to, work on delivery of food fairly regularly to keep him engaged with me, and then I'm just going to kind of start varying when I offer his food. So it'll be treat, maybe we'll take a couple steps, treat, couple steps, treat, couple steps. Whereas right now it's like treat, because otherwise I lose him, which is fine. He is typical to his breed. They like to do their own thing. They like to sniff and search around, very easily motivated by everything going on around him. He is not any worse than any other dog I work with. I have to be creative with how I teach him things, and I have to be extra exciting because everything is exciting for him. Hi, thanks for the kisses. He's getting a little bit better about jumping. If he's on leash, just pressure away from me, or I kind of just pop my knee out. I don't want to kick him or anything like that, but I'm just telling him that, making it unfun for him to jump up on me. I've been working on his, I'm about to take an interview shot, working on his out. Good boy. So I will use that, right there you go. I'll use that as a way to keep him off me. So if he's starting to run towards me or act like he's about to jump up, I just say the word out and have him move away. He's still very heavily relying on the need for the food reinforcement, which is fine. He's just his first week of training, which is a good point that I am reinforcing everything that I like to help him learn a better reinforcement schedule and learn better behaviors. So a lot of people ask what they can do at home to continue training, and I like the reason for this video is because I want you right now just focusing on how to reward him and reward everything that you like. And right now you can pretty much ignore things that you don't like, or you can correct, just say no, move him away, spatial pressure, leash pressure, things like that. If you don't like it, don't let it be successful. That's my biggest tip, is just never let it be successful. But you need that constant reinforcement right now on the behaviors that you like, so that he learns that when he does this behavior, he gets good things. And if you're worrying about overfeeding, another really good recommendation I have is to use his meals for training. So instead of just a bowl in the morning and a bowl in the evening, or however you feed him, just have his food. If you want to get a treat pouch, just have his meals just placed on you whenever you're with him, and deliver his food that way. So he's getting the same amount of calories. It's just not for free whenever, morning and dinner. That will help put more value on you, but instead of, again, just getting it for free, he's having to work for it. He's learning the appropriate behaviors. I found that dogs that work for their meals are much more respectful around their owners, because their survival is dependent on engaging with their human, working for their, hi, good. I'm gonna reward that because he's being very engaged with me, which he's not always. He usually tries to sniff around. He's like a boy. I don't know what to say. Dogs that are fed through training, they're just better dogs. Not better dogs, but they are more engaged. They will have better skills because it's something that they don't take treats and things for granted, because they know that if they don't take something from you when you offer it, then they have to wait to have that food later. I hope that makes sense. Look up existential feeding. There's a lot of really good resources on that. That's how I feed my dogs. Specifically my shepherd, she's a very sensitive dog, and she, for a while, started acting scared of food, and I had to set up this perfect scenario where I'd play with her, and no one was allowed to enter the room, or she would literally pee herself. I don't know what happened. She just decided one day that food was scary. And I was just like, you know what, I'm not doing this dance every time I want to feed you. So I started feeding through my hand, and if she didn't take food, then she just didn't eat until the next feeding. And it's not starving your dog, I just would offer her again later. She didn't eat for 2.5 days, and then now, she figured out I need to eat from my owner or I don't get food. Now she is so attentive. She's such a great dog. I'm really getting sidetracked here, but anyway, feeding your dog through training is great. Always being prepared to reinforce the things that you like that he does really goes a long way. I hope I covered everything for this week. It's not really super interesting anything, but good stuff to kind of get you guys started at home. Right, bud? Hey, good. I started pulling. Good boy. Good job.